So this podcast wasn't really supposed to happen. I'm just literally sitting outside my house right now, and I figured why not get on the mic and spit some game, and just kind of reflect on what's been going on in my life in the past 6 months. And when I feel like I need to slow down, I love being in my front yard, well, my father-in-law's front yard, because he has all these plants, and it just makes me feel good. I just love being around this. It's nice. And then right now it's 7 a.m. It's 7:22 a.m. in Dallas, California. Like I said before, this podcast wasn't supposed to happen, but I just wanted to talk about these past 2 years, maybe 6 months, and they have been the most challenging, the most rewarding, and honestly the most humbling years of my life. And I don't think enough people want to talk about the reality of how to grow as a business owner, as a parent, and as a person, especially when you feel like you don't have everything figured out. So today I want to share some of my story in case you're going through your own season of growth and uncertainty. Maybe something here will resonate with you or even give you a little bit of hope. Like, we're all in this together. We all have our own struggles, and you never want to believe someone's highlight reel. Just because someone is doing good on Instagram does not necessarily mean they're doing good at life. Okay. I feel like now that I coach barbers, I think that's the number one thing that I hear a lot now. It's like annoying, but it's part of it, I guess. But in this section, I want to talk about outgrowing relationships and losing friends and how it's a normal thing of just growing as a person. Like, I've lost friends over the last couple of years, people I truly thought would be around forever. Like, these are people that know my goals, my dreams, my fears, and people I built memories with who are in some of the biggest moments of my life. Like, I've shared big things like, oh, my girlfriend's pregnant, or I'm having a kid. Like, you met my child, you know what I mean? Like, I let you in, you know? Like, at first it felt personal. Like, you start asking yourself, was it something I did? Was I too focused on my goals? Did I change too much for them to understand me anymore? And that honestly might be some truth to that, because again, like, a lot of people don't want to realize or just admit the truth, you know? But, over time, I learned that growth naturally exposes who's aligned with you and who isn't. When you start evolving, not everyone wants to come along for the ride, because they're so used to this image of you, right? They're so used to this version of you that they feel like they can get along with, or they could take advantage of, or for some reason, they don't find that they find you like on the same pace as they are, But sometimes you kind of move faster in a sense, and sometimes that ends up being like one of those things where they get butthurt or something, and that's a them problem, But one of the things I noticed though is that sometimes things do come full circle though. Like, you do drift apart, life humbles you both, and eventually you reconnect. But it's different this time around, Like, there's no bitterness, it's just understanding. Like, it wasn't to hurt you, it wasn't to belittle you, it wasn't to make sure I'm doing better than you. Like, no, it's something I have to do. Like, it's something I absolutely have to do. And if you don't understand it now, you will later. Like, it wasn't to like bash you or to leave you hanging or to, make sure, I'm doing, no, it's nothing like that, Like, when those things happen, you always want to handle those things with as much as integrity as you can, like, do the right thing, and I felt like I did the right thing in those moments, but the other recipient wasn't in that space. Like, they were like standoffish, I guess you could say, Like, I forgave, I moved on, not because everything was perfect, but because carrying resentment would only weigh me down. And I learned that letting go of the blame, it wasn't just to wish people well, it was to let myself breathe and understand that people are in your life for a season. Sometimes they'll come later on, sometimes they don't. And that's just part of life, because at the same time, I've learned that not to put all my trust in people. That you can love someone, be loyal, and still know that they may not stay in your life forever. Like, and that goes with family too. Like, there's a lot of people in my life that I thought not in a million years would act the way they're acting or be the way they're being is just so like surprising to me, you know. And I think that's what hurt touched the most, is because I had this image of that person in my head, like, oh, they would never do that to me, or they wouldn't dare to like question what I'm doing, you know. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that we all grow at our own pace, you know. And like one of the examples I can say is like I don't have the best relationship with my mother, and I wish I did, but things the way they are for some weird reason, like it's not the way I would want them. But at the same time, I have to do what I have to do. Like I can't wait around for my mom to realize what she's missing out on, you know. But like I said before, I've lost friends I thought would never, I thought would be around forever, you know. And that's just part of growing. Like sometimes things do come full circle. You do forgive, you do move on, and you realize that it was never about blame. It was just unforeseen circumstances that the other person might be going through. You know, they might be going through something, and you just don't know it. You just don't know what the other person might be going through because of X, Y, Z. You know, but like another thing too is like the reality of shop ownership and leadership. Like a lot of people see the highlight reel of me owning the shop, the fresh cuts, the numbers on Instagram, the busy Saturdays, the vibe. But what they don't see is the responsibility that I carry every single day. Like that's the reality of being a shop owner. Like you're responsible for the clients who trust you. You're also responsible for the barbers that are in your space. Like I realized that my clients that I cut hair, that I cut their hair, those are my clients, but my clients are also my barbers. You know, like my barbers who rely on me to pay the bills, the culture, to build systems, everything. Like that's all on me. And like I don't put that on anybody else. And I knew that going into this. Like it wasn't like, oh shit, I should have thought this more through. Like no. I knew this. It's just I didn't know the how much of it I was going to receive on the back end. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like there's days where I drove home wondering if me being an owner of a shop was cut out for me. Like if like I would ask myself, am I cut out for this? Like what am I doing wrong? You know, like now that I went from only relying on myself and showing up at my private suite to being a leader. Like I've always wondered like if I was failing as a leader or making all the wrong calls. But the truth is, owning a shop has been the biggest catalyst for my growth. Like it's broken me in ways and pruned me in ways that I never thought it would. And I've only been six months in, like six-ish months in. Like I had my grand opening in December. We're about to hit July, so about 7 months ish, you know. So like every time I had to have a hard conversation with one of my barbers, every time I had to swallow my pride and learn something new, it made me better. Like sometimes I would put off a conversation. Sometimes I would put my pride first, and I feel like that's a lot of shop owners, you know, especially in the beginning. Like, you know, but I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to like own my mistakes and not worry so much about blaming XYZ person, you know. Like I've learned that leadership isn't about always being right. It's about owning your mistakes and growing through them. And that's one of the hardest pills I had to swallow. Especially, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like all barbers have some kind of ego. But how are you going to control it is the bigger question, you know. But being a shop owner forces you to grow as a leader, whether you're ready or not. So that's one of the questions you should ask yourself if you're considering opening up a barbershop, you know. And like being a shop owner and being a father and having that being fulfilling as it is and demanding as it is, like fatherhood gave me purpose that I never knew I needed. Like my kids have shown me what real love is and what real commitment looks like. Like if you think you love your significant other or your family member XYZ, but once you have your kids, it's a whole different ballgame. Like you start realizing you have fears that you never thought you Like, you knew they were there, but like now that you have kids, they're front and center, and they're constantly there. Like, you're trying to make freedom for them, you're trying to protect them, you're trying to do your best, you know. But being a dad while trying to build the business is something nobody prepares you for. Like, that right there alone is one of the biggest things that I'm going through. And one of the things I recently learned is it's not so much of a balance, it's more so of a rhythm. Like, I know when I'm off my rhythm, everything falls apart, like within myself. Like, my patience goes thin. I start like shutting down quicker. Like, I don't have these conversations that I want to have. But the more I confront those things and I feel them and I go through them, I get better. And every time they pop up, I know how to handle myself a lot better, you know. But some days I feel like I'm dropping the ball everywhere. Like, I'm not giving enough at home or at work. The guilt can be extremely heavy. Like, if you didn't know what parent guilt is, then you're in for a good one. Like, parent guilt is there. Like, I constantly wonder where I can give more time to my family, but then it's like, fuck, I have to work. Fuck, I have to edit this video. I have to stay up late editing this video, or wake up early to edit this video so I can spend more time with them. And then even then, like, I have to learn how to shut off that part of my brain, because I constantly think about work. I constantly think about editing. I constantly think about how to do this, or I have to do this. I have to do this because of the brand. Or I have to make sure I reply to this message, and it's a constant thing, you know. But I remind myself that showing up, even imperfectly, still matters. Like, even in the midst of all that, having all that pressure, like, I'm still here. Like, I'm still here. I'm still figuring out the rhythm, you know. Like, I've learned to be patient, to be present when I can, and not to take that for granted, because being present is a gift. Like being present as an adult, and it's a gift. Like, it really is. And to remember that this season won't last forever. Like, the little moments with my kids are worth everything. Like, one of my clients told me something the other day, because he has kids too, and me, and I've realized that I connect a lot with my parent clients, and they always give me some kind of gems. And this one really hit me hard. He was like, your kids are gonna be an adult longer in your life than they are than they are kids. Like, let me say that again. Like, your kids are gonna be an adult longer in your life than they will be as kids. And when he said that, like, that almost made me like want to fucking cry, because I think about my kids, how fast they're growing. Like, it's already 6 months, and my daughter Ava, she's already gonna be 6 months. My oldest Mila, she just turned 3. Like the time is like moving faster. I think when you have kids, you realize time moves a lot faster than you really think. Like, you know. But fatherhood is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, and also the hardest when you're trying to build something bigger than yourself, because you realize that you're not building it for yourself. You're building it for them. You're building it for your family. You're building true freedom to do things that you never could as a kid. Like, I remember growing up as a kid, I never did anything that my kids are doing now. So, I'm trying to give my kids experiences and teach them, like, having an experience will last forever than actual physical things, you know. But having kids leads me to say that life doesn't always go to plan. Like, one thing I want to be real about is I don't have it all figured out. I have a plan. Trust me, I do. I have a plan. I have vision boards. I have journals, but sometimes life has other plans. Life has a funny way of, like, knowing when you're going too fast. Life has a really strange way of just knowing, like, you're going a little too fast there, bud. I think you need to slow down, because at this point in my life, I'm 31, and I thought I by now had to be at my own place, but I'm still living at my in-laws, and it's a lot longer than I expected. I am grateful, don't get me wrong. It's just being an adult with kids and a partner. Like, I want to give them a home, you know, and that's one of the biggest things that I'm working towards, is building a home. You know, at first I felt like I was behind or not living up to some imaginary timeline I had for myself. But the longer I stayed, the more I realized how grateful I am for them, how grateful I am for my in-laws, because not everyone has a family that is willing to open their doors so you could build your future. Like that's amazing, and I am so thankful for that. I am so thankful that my in-laws let us live here, because without them, I don't know where I'd be. Like my family isn't really in the picture. Like my dad is coming, he comes around and stuff, but my mom and like her side, I don't really talk to them like that because they have this like stigma behind XYZ, and that's something I don't want to go into, maybe later on, but it's very difficult. But this experience really did humble me, because it taught me that success isn't about your address. It's about the mindset, your character, and how you treat people and the person you're becoming. And like that honestly hit me right now. It's like if I think about 10 years ago, like I don't know that person anymore. Like I don't know that version of myself anymore. Like it's so crazy. Like, but at the end of the day, I just want you guys to know that I don't have it all figured out, but I do have a plan, and I do have the courage to keep going when life doesn't follow it. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually the support you needed. Like being here with my in-laws, having them see my kids grow up, and which is their grandkids, like that's honestly a beautiful sight to see, because my kids love their papa and mima. Like they love them, so it's like it's a wonderful thing to see, but it's a bittersweet thing, because then I think about my family. It's like, well, crap, where's my family? I definitely feel like my mom doesn't know me as a father. So like whenever I see her, whenever I come around her, she has her own things going on in her life, but I definitely feel like, since I've been working on being a better person and reading books and stuff like that, like I definitely feel like I see the toxicity, like and that's one of the things that a lot of people don't tell you, is when you become more emotionally intelligent and more in tune to what people are doing, it's almost like a curse. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because what not to put up with, but then it's like, fuck, this is my mom. Why is she being this way? But like, personal development is the catalyst to why I am the way I am now, and I owe that to the risks I took in my beginning years of my career. Like, it's a beautiful thing, and everything really started to change when I decided to invest in myself, reading books, listening to mentors, investing into them, journaling, reflecting. It all forced me to look in the mirror and own my part in everything. Like, there's no point in blaming anybody. Like, I'm not even blaming my mother for the reason the way I am anymore. Like, I'm taking full accountability. And when I started taking full accountability, I started noticing things in myself, like, oh crap, I shouldn't do that no more. There's certain things that pop up now that I'm just like, nah, I don't think my mom does that, or my dad does that, and that's the reason why they're not together no more. So I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Or my cousins, or not cousins, like friends or something, like they do that. I'm definitely not gonna do that. No, that's just a no-go. But like, self-development helped me a lot and showed me how to show up as a better leader, father, and a man to my girlfriend, my kids. And I've learned that when you grow internally, everything external starts to shift too. It's so crazy. Like, that's a crazy phenomenon that no one talks about. Like, and that goes back full circle to what I was saying about when you start losing connections with friends or XYZ, you start like asking yourself, like, what happened? But then you start realizing that you know the answers to that, because you start realizing, oh crap, I'm not the same person I was before, and I'm still learning. Like, believe it or not, I'm still learning. I'm learning at my own pace. Like, I firmly believe that I owe that, like, my success, to taking action and not waiting for the right moment, because I don't think you ever arrive. You know what I mean? I don't think you ever get to where you want to get to. You just keep evolving, you know? Like self-development changed everything. When you grow as a person, everything around you starts to change too. So don't be surprised if you start losing friends or family members start acting a little funky, or you start attracting a different type of crowd. Like that's just the reality of it. But that right there also leads me to just being grateful, and embracing the struggle and reminding myself that I'm genuinely thankful for every challenge and every loss. Because if realistically, if like life would be pretty boring without problems to solve. Like you may be going to the same issues because you're choosing to escape it instead of dealing with it, instead of trying to solve it. Like humans are natural problem solvers. Like if you're not trying to consistently solve your problems, then what are you doing? Like if you're drinking your problems away, smoking your problems away, of course you wonder why you're still in the same spot, you know? But like I'm thankful for even the moments that broke me down, like, because they were shaping me into who I needed to become. Because I asked for this, right? I asked to become better, and to become better, you need to shed or cut excess weight off, And the reality of it, I am proud of where I am, even if it doesn't look good on paper. Because I'm not trying to show up perfect. I'm just showing up. Because every time I show up, I become better, at least 1%. And when you become 1% better every single day, then realistically, there's no way you're not gonna get to where you want to get to if you keep showing up. But in all this, though, I am especially thankful for my family, my kids, my partner, my in-laws, for really supporting me through it all. Because there's some dark days out there, man. There's some dark days out there where you start contemplating, when you start asking yourself, and this is why you need a great support system, and really understand that these things are happening because they're here to shift you, not to break you, in a sense. Like even if they break you, get back up and keep doing it. That's my definition of resiliency. Being resilient is how quickly can you get back up after you fell. Like after you fell so hard on your face, how quickly can you get back up? That is resilience. And every single time I got knocked out, I'm back up. I'm back up. Like I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna show up, and you will know who Barapaco is if you don't know already. But like to keep this going and to close this, like here's a personal declaration. Like if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that you don't need to have it all figured out. Just keep moving forward. You do need a plan, and you need a lot of faith and the courage to keep showing up when things don't look like you pictured them. Because never in my life did I think I'd be here sitting outside talking to you on my podcast about my story. And I'm so thankful. Thankful for the struggles, thankful for the lessons, thankful for everyone who's been a part of this journey, the good and the bad. So if you're listening to this right now, if you're out there listening to this right now, I appreciate you more than you know. And this episode spoke to, and if this episode spoke to you anyway, please share it with someone who might be going through the same thing or who needs to hear it. Tag me on social media and tell me your biggest takeaway from this, because I want to connect with you. Because at the end of the day, we're all figuring this out, and I'm honored to have you all with me on the ride. But I'll catch you guys on the next one.